In our very first story today, we'll be talking about an interesting development that has a lot of people at Venice buzzing, concerning the stellar performance of one of, wrestlers' phenomenal personalities. That is The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, who transitioned into movie and has done so over the years. And for the very first time, it looks like, for the very first time, towering over every other productions, acting that he has done in any production so far, there stands out to be the very obvious one that there are a lot of Oscar bars, building up for this particular role. And I'm talking about none other than the Smashing Machine, where he stars as the real life Mark Kerr, who happened to be a UFC fighter back in the day. So let's take a look at a brief article published in the Associated Press, which highlights the story of his transformation as Mark Kerr. So the story says that Oscar buzz builds for Dwayne Johnson's for Dwayne Johnson's role as Mark Kerr in the Smashing Machine. And there you have Dwayne Johnson in his dapper suit at the premiere of the Smashing Machine, which happened to have premiered just on the 1st of September, not too long ago, about 2 days or a day from today. That was yesterday. Yeah, so this is written by Lindsay Barr, and it says that Venice, Italy, Dwayne Johnson takes a serious stand as UFC fighter Mark Kerr in the Smashing Machine, which had its world premiere today on Monday at the Venice Film Festival. For a long time wanted this, Johnson said before the premiere. The transformation part was something I was really hungry to do. I've been very fortunate to have the career that I've had and make the films that I have. But there was just this voice inside of me, this little voice, like, what if I can do more? The actor best known for the big budget action movies and comedies is already sparking Oscar buzz for his transformation in the film from Benny Safdie. The festival has launched several recent Best Actor Oscar winners, from Brendan Fraser in The Whale to Adrian Brody in The Brutalist. Like both of those films, The Smashing Machine is being released by A24. The box office is our business is very loud. In our business is very loud, Johnson said, and it can push you into a category and into a corner. This is your lane. This is what you do. This is what people want you to be in, and this is what Hollywood wants you to be. And I understood that. And I made those movies, and I liked them, and they were fun. And some were really good and did well, and some not so good. But he felt like he had more to give, not to prove something to Hollywood, but to himself. The push to take on a new challenge came in part from his co-star and friend, Emily Blunt, who he worked with in Jungle Cruise and who encouraged him to draw on everything he'd gone through in life and put it into his work. When you've been pigeonholed into something, it's hard to know, wait, can I do that? He said, sometimes it takes people you know and love, like Emily and Benny, to say you can. Johnson was joined in Venice not only by Safdie and Blunt, but also the man he's portraying in the film. Kerr is a two-time UFC heavyweight tournament winner and MMA fighter who retired in 2009. Known as the Smashing Machine, Kerr also struggled with addiction to painkillers and opioids, overdosing twice. Before Johnson was best known as the star of franchises like Jumanji and the Fast and Furious series, as well as producer and business owner, he made his name in wrestling. A third-generation wrestler, he won 8 WWE championships. I loved wrestling and I had such a great time, but it's very bombastic, Johnson said. He remembered meeting Kerr in the late 1990s and said how much he looked up to him. This film, he said, feels like a full circle moment. The Smashing Machine takes place between the years 1997 and 2000, a tumultuous time in both Kerr's professional and personal life. His relationship with then girlfriend Dawn Staples was particularly volatile. Blunt got to know and spend time with her counterparts as well. She said she was excited to show the full weather system of a relationship. I've been part of a lot of relationships, and that are essential, more curated to a movie-filled relationship, Blunt said. This felt like the full spectrum of what a relationship really looks like, because humans change within the hour. I think we got to show that. She said it was extraordinary and a little spooky to see Johnson fully disappear into this role. The prosthetics were designed by master makeup artist Kazuhiro, who helped Bradley Cooper turn into Leonard Bernstein and Gary Oldman into Winston Churchill. Venice's artistic director, Alberto Barbera, said last week he wouldn't be surprised to see Johnson, who he called absolutely amazing, the film, and Blunt among the Oscar nominees next year. I've been scared to go deep and go intense and go raw until now, until I've had this opportunity, Johnson said. Both Johnson and Safdie said that Kerr had changed their lives. It's such a beautiful thing to shine a light on him and learn from his experiences, Safdie said. Safdie is also an actor who recently appeared in Oppenheimer and Happy Gilmore 2, and filmmaker who, along with his brother George, co-directed Uncut Gems. So in his director's statement, The Smashing Machine, Safdie called the title a perfect onomatopoeia for something visceral, conjuring images of domination and destruction with ease. The film is playing in the main competition with titles like Frankenstein, Begonia, and The Voice of Hind Rajab, La Grazia, and No Other Choice, also vying for the top prizes, including acting and directing awards. The Smashing Machine will open in North American theaters on October 3rd. So, wow, that is quite an interesting development we have here. And I must say, wow, I mean, I think it seems timely, just as Dwayne Johnson himself has reiterated, and that he wants to go deeper into the scope of acting that he's been doing over the years. And I could understand where he was saying that when audiences tend to like a particular role that you dabble in, there is also the very tendency for studio executives, particularly when they realize that those films are raking in a lot of money, to sort of stereotype you, just as he says, pigeonhole you into a particular role that it gets difficult to break out from, because that also pays the bills, I must say. So with regards to that, it makes you as an actor to focus on particular roles and not wanting to break out, particularly when you are very successful in those areas. And also to delve into certain deep characters, like, as other actors would perhaps go by method acting, it can be quite scary, because then you have to don a new persona with a different mindset during the period of time that you are either preparing to do the production or whilst doing the production. It can get quite scary, to the extent that after even the production, that persona can be with you for years if you don't, go to therapy to sort of deal with whatever mindset you went into it, to reverse you back to yourself. So it's understandable, and it can be very, very daunting and quite scary. And I could understand why Dwayne Johnson wanted to, aside all the successes he achieved, and the directors and Hollywood and audiences wanting him to, play some kind of roles. And I think he's paid his dues for that. And I'm glad he's sort of stepping out of that stereotypical roles that he's been playing for a long time. But aside that, even prior to this film, he's done some excellent performances in some movies that will blow your mind. I mean, Snitch is one, Faster is another movie, Pain and Gain is amazing. Pain again is so amazing. It's very different from the roles that he's played. And I think with such talents that he's displayed, it is of no surprise, since I haven't seen the film, but it is of no surprise that at the Venice Film Festival, the whole film, after it was premiered, it received a 15 and a half standing ovation. Well, it's something that you always hear that Venice audiences do when they enjoy a movie. As to whether that will translate to, translate well with the general audiences worldwide, that is left to be seen. But it looks like all the buzz concerning this seems very positive, particularly with Dwayne Johnson, who is one of the, when it comes to work ethics with his movies, he doesn't joke about it. And I think it is quite timely for him to perhaps receive the honor that he deserves as an actor. Yes, he's starred in several movies that may not have garnered well, but he's built experiences over the years, which I think it is worthy for him to delve into this particular role. And it being a biopic of a sort of a real life individual who happens to be an inspiration to himself whilst he was a wrestler, it is quite a full circle moment, just as he said for himself, to be playing him. And amazingly, Mark Kerr also was there at the event during the premiere, and it's such an amazing time. If you see excerpts of the footages when they were done and they were being, praised or congratulated, you could see the emotions and the love, pouring from both Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt and Safdie to Mark Kerr. It's such an amazing moment in time at Venice. I wish I was there to behold the moment myself with my own eyes, but it was so wonderful, and that's something that I think it speaks much to the respect the crew all have for Mark Kerr, who have gone through his own mountainous or challenging moments, and it's been quite a challenge for him, seeing that he's gone through all this, and it is quite surprising. I mean, to have that strength to see your life being played back to you on the screen, I think that would be something else that I don't know whether as an individual I can even deal with that. But that shows to the strength Mark Kerr has as an individual, as a person, and it is indeed amazing. And Johnson, just as I've said, is hailed to be a revelation. It looks like he pulled up a performance. Even if you watch the trailers, there's the sneak peeks of his performances is amazing, particularly with the transformation which was done by Hajiru. I'm missing out on the name, but there's the same individual who transformed Gary Oldman into Winston Churchill with his prosthetics and all. And I think Jim Carrey in Grinch, how Grinch Stole Christmas or something, that movie. So the transformation was something else. If you take a look at Mark Kerr himself, and you place a picture of him together with Johnson in that transformation, it's quite surreal. And I think that is something wonderful they did with this production, for Dwayne not just to physically be transformed into Mark Kerr, but psychologically he went deep into being who he was. And if you read other articles, for those who have watched it, they are saying that this can be compared almost like a cousin to the wrestler which starred Mickey Rourke. And Mickey Rourke was, I think he did win an Oscar for that, if I'm not mistaken, a 2009 production. Yes, I'm not so certain, but yeah, I think in the early 2000s, 2006 thereabout, and they are liking that this particular film, which is a UFC mixed martial arts film, to that of the wrestler. So it means that this film indeed has high praise for that reason. But aside that, it has so far it has about 19 critics reviewing it, and it's been given an 88% tomato rating and Rotten Tomato scores, and that is quite amazing. That is quite amazing, and it looks like across board everybody agrees that the performance of Emily Blunt and particularly Dwayne Johnson is amazing, portraying Mark Kerr as the UFC fighter in his time. So that is something powerful to have seen, to have been seen by the critics themselves, and it is quite amazing. So yeah, I think that Kazuhiro was the one who helped with the transformation, the physical transformation. So it is quite an amazing performance by Dwayne Johnson, and being hailed by all those who went there to see his performance. And the fascinating aspect is that A24 is the one producing this film. And there's something about A24. A24 films now seems to be a genre on its own, just as Robert Meyer Burnett would say, that they have become like a genre on their own. Every film they have done with regards to even the way they edit their trailers, it's amazing. And every film of theirs have a different flavor and uniqueness to it that you don't. It feels more art house, but also has a commercial edge to it. So there's a clear balance to it, but you can feel the art house vibe to it. And over the years, they've been successful with one movie after the other, after the other. And the one that both films that won awards for, what's it called, Brendan Fraser, and that of Adrian Brody, were all A24 films. That is, you're talking about The Whale for Brendan Fraser, and you're talking about The Brutalist for Adrian Brody. So it's of no surprise that this seems to be on the same trajectory as those two films. And to have the director also, this Benny Safdie, this is his spare solo outing. I think previously he directed a film with his brother Josh on the Uncut Gems that starred Adam Sandler, and that movie alone is very gripping, very edgy and gripping, but this went extra. And this actually is a distinct voice for Benny Safdie for going solo on this particular project alone. So it is quite interesting. And now the question we all have to ask for is that, can Dwayne Johnson's dramatic transformation and performance indeed garner him a nomination, let alone an Oscar win? Well, let me know your thoughts by leaving it in the comment section below. Yeah, so moving on from